I'll take a pound of nuts. That's a lot of nuts!
That is a lot of nuts indeed. Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Power Up Podcast. Podcast that takes a look at what's happening in the old pop culture area. And boy, oh boy, is there quite a talk, specifically about Dragon Age, the Veilgaurd. I guess it's super woke from what I've seen, so we'll read some articles here that we got pulled up, along with some other stuff. One such as apparently the Vatican has a anime girl mascot now, so we'll see how that goes. And we got some other articles here that caught my eye. Twitch still being a bunch of garbage people for VTubers apparently. But if you are new to the show and you enjoy it, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, smash the thumbs up, ring the bell to get notified when I go live, whether that's doing the show Power Up Podcast, either solo or with a guest, or my game streamings that I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This show Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 Eastern Time, and then over the weekend, we just pretty much game when I can, usually early afternoons and at night. So appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hope you guys had a good Monday. It's Monday, so yeah, you know what's up. So let's hop on in. And we are on YouTube, Rumble, and X currently, so you can follow me over there as well. Wabam. Also, I'm working on like a new starting screen and stuff like that, so slowly updating. So this one kind of caught my eye. Original Resident Evil 4 director Shinji Mikami offers high praise to remake dev team. They took the half-assed scenario that I just wrote up in 2 weeks and really built up on that. So like many players who recently made the return trip to the Spanish home village of the Los Eliminados cult, original PS4 director Shinji Mikami has nothing but praise to offer Capcom's recent remake of his fan favorite franchise entry. This is coming from Bounding into Comics, by the way. Right away, to me, this is no different than for example, when the Ghostbusters 2016 movie came out and, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd and stuff were praising it and stuff. I'm getting the same vibe from this. Super sus if he actually does really think about it. Not saying that the remake is terrible, but I mean, we're all seeing in how remakes are going. So the esteemed video game director, whose other works include Killer 7, God Hand, I actually need to play God Hand, and Vanquish, shared his positive opinion on the Resident Evil 4 remake during a recent interview given to IGN's Matt Purslow, speaking on the subject of what makes a good remake. I know what makes a good remake. I know it. It's called you literally just rebuild the assets from the ground up, maybe change some things to help accommodate it to be more fluent and working in today's technology. But other than that, you don't touch a damn thing. Prime example, Shadow of the Colossus. I will always point to Shadow of the Colossus remake as being probably the ideal remake of what every studio should follow. In the upcoming hella remastered release of his previous third-person horror action game, Shadow of the Damned, Mikami opined to his host, I think the comprehensive and fundamental understanding of what it was that made the original work in the first place is probably the most important part of a good remake. You mean respecting respecting the characters to where you don't change them like you do in Silent Hill remake when you make 19-year-olds fat and chubby, you make an already fat guy even more fat because when it's a dude it's perfectly fine, and then change/censor important parts of the game, which makes it known, which parts that people remember. You mean that? Everything from the ground up, basically. Hey, what did I just say? That's literally what they did with Shadow of the Colossus. He added before noting how, quote, there's a few examples of that with certain series that Capcom has put out. A less than subtle reference to the recent string of Resident Evil remakes, which thus far includes 2, 3, and 4. Never going to probably do 5 because, To this end, Mikami was then asked by Purslow for his thoughts on how the remake team, as directed in his steed instead by Capcom's Hashiro Anpo and Kazunori Kadio handled his survival horror classic. In turn, he asserted, I thought it was really well made, offering particular praise, as summarized by Perslow, to, quote, how the remake handles the more nuanced details of combat, such as the timing between aiming and shooting, which in the original was finely balanced to ensure mounting pressure and tension. I thought that they showed a really good understanding of that element, said Mikami. Notice how it's always like the camera angles or like the gameplay mechanics. Notice how none of them comment on like the censorship and stuff like that, which is, you would think would be the main thing to talk about because, you know, it's like, hey, I wrote this story. Why are you changing it? Like, why are you making the characters have that the female specifically have that damn man chin, you know? But maybe he'll get to it. I mean, we'll see. Down here, so continuing, he further praised another thing I thought was really well done was the way they took the half-assed scenario that I just wrote up in 2 weeks and really built up on that, really fleshed it out. They showed that they really understood the characters and their interactions, he said. They showed a good understanding of the background of each character, and they took not just the scenario itself, but even the dialogue, and they improved all that stuff, so that was really great. Even the dialogue. See, this is where I'm wondering if he truly thinks that. I mean, that's great if he thinks that, you know, he can say that he wrote a half-assed scenario, but like Resident Evil 4 like did the Lord's work, you know, at the end. So even if you think or thought it was half-assed, like it did well. I take issue with this saying even the dialogue, because I mean, if there are plot holes that got fixed, that's one thing, but changing certain dialogues during certain scenes can change the whole impact of that scene. Prime example, I would say, if we want to switch over to Silent Hill remake, the dialogue between Eddie and James before Eddie goes all crazy. And even the acting of that completely changed the tone of everything too. Because, you know, remake, they made Eddie more sympathetic, when in the original, like, Eddie's the most crazed person of them, like, of the characters that show up. If you really pay attention and, like, you know, look at the other information that you can gather. Like, all those people in there you should not like, you know? Eddie particular, because he literally, like, kills a dog and a guy because he was being made fun of, you know? And then, of course, his whole death scene, like, with James in the original commenting on how he's dumbfounded at how he was able to take another human being life, which ties into, of course, the big twist of Silent Hill. But in the remake, just nothing, just stares at his hands and then just walks away. Like, completely changes the whole atmosphere. So far be it from players to question the opinion of a given work's creator, but it is notably interesting that Mikami would offer such a blanket praise to every aspect of the remake's direction, given that in making the aforementioned, quote, improvements to the original, particularly in regards to its dialogue, the game stripped away the original's identity as a campy but genuine over-the-top horror experience. I agree. Of course, given Mikami's own admission that Resident Evil 4's narrative was quickly and haphazardly thrown together, there's also the chance that the now infamous B-movie charm of Leon Kennedy's Spanish Adventure was an unintentional side effect of its infamously messy production, and thus he has no creative attachment to the game's 2004 characterization, which would be a bit of a bummer for fans to hear, but hey, that's how the creative process sometimes go. Yeah, I do agree with that. And then says here, Shadow of the Dam's Hella Remaster. It's currently set to being revived. Its engines this Halloween. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing what remakes are doing. They're slowly weaseling in woke stuff, DEI, or just straight out like putting it in your face. But I guess you could say, well, that's like Concord and Dustborn. Those are original concepts, but they're doing the shit. All the more reason of when we'll get into the Dragon Age portion of the show, because that'll be the most talked about. I found this interesting over at Video Game Chronicle. U.S. Copyright Office refuses to allow remote access to out-of-print games. So the Video Game History Foundation blames ESA lobbying and says it's, quote, not done fighting. So the Software Preservation Network, supported by the Video Game History Foundation, has petitioned the U.S. Copyright Office for an exemption that would let libraries and archives provide remote digital access to video games so researchers could access them without having to visit their physical premises. To make these games accessible remotely, libraries and archives would have to break the copy protection on games, but current anti-circumvention rules in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA, prevent this. The U.S. Copyright Office has now concluded that it will not grant an exemption to the DMCA, meaning remote access remains prohibited. As part of its ruling, the Copyright Office claimed that enough clarification hadn't been provided on whether a game must only be accessible to one user at a time, a, quote, single user limitation, or whether it must not make available outside of the physical premises, a premise limitation. The petition argued that remote access to the games would be considered, quote, transformative and would not affect the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work because only works that are no longer reasonably available in the commercial marketplace would be subject to the exemption. But let's be real here. This is one of the big lies that they've always put, is the fact of piracy and stuff like that is hurting the market. And you can find the research out there, and it turns out that that's not only not true, but people who pirate or do that sort of stuff are usually the people that go out and actually buy the product later on because they tested it. That's the whole thing. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to see the studies about that, but you can find them out there. I'm really getting tired of, like, you know, companies being ass mad because, you know, like Nintendo, you know, that's our IP. And it's like, really, are you going to put out that shitty Nintendo game from way back in the day? You still making money on that? You're going to put that up in the old, you know, Switch Plus subscription fee of your, you know, online catalog? No. Well, then quit bitching about it. And you go to the Nintendo, museum, and you play the games that are uploaded there. Guess what they're using? Emulators. Oh my gosh. Wow. Amazing. It's the same thing with their ports too, on how, like, somehow, you know, your Wii shop, your Wii eShop, and, you know, your online stuff. It's amazing on how even them porting it, like, some versions of their port is still not accurate to the OG game when the ROMs are. But anyway, in a statement, the Video Game History Foundation criticized the decision and blamed the Entertainment Software Association for lobbying against its campaign. While we are disappointed by the Copyright Office's decision, we have no regrets about going through this process. The Video Game History Foundation wrote, over the last 3 years, working on the petition has helped us generate important research, notably our survey of the video game reissue market in the United States report, which proved that around 87% video games released in the United States before 2010 remain out of print. See? Our combined efforts with ESPN have raised significant public awareness of these issues and have already made an impact throughout the gaming industry and preservation communities. Fortunately, lobbying efforts by shoulder groups continue to hold back progress. During our hearing with the Copyright Office, the ESA declared that they would never support remote game access for research purposes under any condition, because that means they wouldn't get money. The game industry's absolutist position, which the ESA's own members have declined to go on the record to support, forces researchers to explore extra legal methods to access the vast majority of out-of-print video games that are otherwise unavailable, and if you find them, are probably stupid expensive, because the retro bubble is also stupidly expensive and retarded. We're not done fighting here. We will continue our advocacy for greater access and legal allowance for video game preservation and working with members of the gaming industry to increase internal awareness around these issues. Oh, look at that. Video Game Chronicles apparently says they have strong characters, but gameplay stuck in the past. Well, I don't care about Video Game Chronicles review. So Twitch is still being gay towards VTubers. Apparently, over at Niche Gamer here, it says it continues to ban VTubers even when following the rules. So Twitch's weird crusade against VTubers continues, this time banning a VTuber who went out of her way to follow the rules, though maybe skirting them a little. Earlier this month, Twitch released guidelines in an effort to make their enforcement more transparent. However, they were quickly called out by the VTuber community for what appeared to be unequal enforcement, pointing to streams where live-action women get away with this sort of content that VTubers have been banned for repeatedly. So this time, independent VTuber Megalodon VT was banned for, quote, inappropriate attire in a stream where she went out of her way to follow Twitch's guidelines. She was wearing a swimsuit. She was in the pools and hot tubs category. She even had a beach-themed background. So what the hell is what the hell is going on there? I mean, granted, you know, by no means could you eat off my stomach, because we're still working on that 6-pack. But so wait, if they seriously ban, like, if this is what her VTube avatar, I guess you would say, is what she's wearing, got banned, but this is okay. Wow. So here's the guidelines, or the guidelines are as follows regarding skid coverage. Swimwear, short shorts, and bodysuits are permitted as long as they completely cover the genitals, and those who present as women. Those who present as, oh my gosh, dude, I'm so tired of this shit. Women. And women must also cover their nipples and areolas. Full coverage of the buttocks is not required, but camera focuses around them is still subject to our sexual content policy. Coverage must be fully opaque, even when wet. I get wet. Sheer or partially seen through swimwear, or other clothes do not constitute coverage. The new guidelines were intended to make things easier for streamers. Dude, anytime Twitch says they're doing stuff to make it easier for people, it's the exact opposite. However, VTubers are still receiving bans from content that regular streamers get away with. Twitch has even been called out for female streamers who cynically keep an inflatable pool in their background in order to skirt the rules. Yeah, I think I've heard that. I think Kirsch or whoever, or maybe on Legal Mindsets, I heard that, like, mentioned that people do that to get away with it. All I can say is these Twitch fellas.
This guy must be a fag.
Sound like a bunch of fags to me. All right. So you have VTubers here just trying to Twitch on stream, or stream on Twitch, doing their thing, just trying to be good gamers. But you know who wouldn't want their daughters to be dating gamers? Apparently, conservative pundit Glenn Beck. Apparently, he bans daughters from dating gamers. This also comes from Niche Gamer. I saw this, and I've listened very little of Glenn Beck's stuff, but I am aware of him, so I definitely want to hear his reasoning on this. So conservative, and by the way, conservatives out there, Republicans, I agree with a lot of the stuff that you guys claim to say. Obviously, if you're not doing it, but keep in mind, the powers behind the scenes, like the demons and stuff. I mean, they're all working together. But my point is, this is gamers. This is how you lose the cult. This is how you lose the culture war every fucking time. But we haven't seen what the reasons why are yet. But I mean, this gives off Matt Walsh vibes to me. Anyway, so conservative radio host and owner of the Blaze TV, Glenn Beck, has recently been causing controversy by once again making statements against gamers. It started in a previous interview with fellow conservative host Liz Wheeler, who herself caused controversy earlier this year by calling male gamers undateable. again, this is how you don't win. I guess if these people don't want to win the culture war argument, you go ahead and say stuff like this. Makes you retarded, but sure, you do you, I guess. After which Wheeler questioned him on his opinions on gamers. So Beck readily agreed with Wheeler, saying that he has banned both his daughters, one of whom is only 18, from dating gamers. What's the reason why? He went even further later, saying, I wouldn't allow my daughter to date a man who collects figurines either, calling both hobbies equally weakening to what it means to be a man. Oh, shut the fuck up. Oh, shut up. What about a guy who goes hunting and stuff, and then, you know, hunting goes to the, you know, the shooting range and stuff like that? Plenty of men do that here and also have those back there. Because what do you constitute then, Glenn, as like a hobby that's manly, you know? This is almost borderline like soy boy content, you know, when, you know, the extremist, you know, the manosphere. This is like teetering manosphere retardation. Like that, you know, that's just as retarded, but also going like collecting figurines and stuff like that is weakening to what it means to be a man. With the initial interview getting ratioed on social media, good, Beck continued making anti-gamer statements, comparing men who play games every day to women who are addicted to TikTok. What, are you just ass mad that they get money or something? Like, what? I mean, whatever. He continued to make disparaging statements on his radio show throughout the week about weak men who, in his view, were so obsessed with playing video games that they weren't noticing the people trying to plug everyone into a video game against their will. Okay, first and foremost, the weak men who you are describing, like, they will be super willing to be plugged into a video game. Like, more than willing. But there are men out there who see the bullshit. I see it. Like, I sure as hell ain't putting a computer chip in my brain. I ain't, you know, I'm not going to be accepting that mark of the beast. Not saying that that's what it's going to be. But I ain't retarded. You know, I try to study the scriptures as much as I can. Like, I can see the garbage too. Sometimes you got to step into that battlefield though, because Christianity isn't a spectator sport. You got to be prepared, and you actually have to know like what the enemy uses and stuff like that. But like, oh my gosh. This is referring to a conspiracy theory that Mark Zuckerberg and other elitists at Silicon Valley are plotting to enwrap the world in a Ready Player One style simulation. Well, it's kind of funny considering we're already in a simulation, like, and you can actually learn about that in scripture because it talks about that. It talks about, you know, beyond the reality that we know and whatnot. I mean, any sort of Ready Player One style simulation could very well be used by the Antichrist and stuff like that. But, oh my gosh. Talk about being super, super paranoid about that stuff. I mean, by the time, like, if any one of us would get ready for this, like, simulation, I would pray and hope that the good Lord comes back by that point, because it says he has to step in, because otherwise the elect would be deceived. But again, this isn't how you, this isn't helping conservatives and Republic win the social culture war here. If you're just going to constitute everything as a conspiracy, you know? It's one thing to be aware and like kind of do your research on like the occult stuff, I guess you could say. Like kind of know. I say that, but I mean like be like obviously see what the scripture says, understand kind of where the origin comes from. But, you know. Anyway. So his opposition of video games as a hobby have come as a surprise to new fans of his, but old listeners to his radio program know this is nothing new. Yeah, Glenn Black's distrust of games go back as far to at least 2008, where he slammed Grand Theft Auto 4 as violent propaganda. And this is where, unfortunately, the Republicans lost on that, because again, this is just like the piracy and like the illegal downloading and stuff. Like the studies actually shows that the violence like from video games and violence that takes place, there's no correlation. I'm so tired of that Republican lie about that. So unfortunately, there may be some stuff I might agree with Glenn Beck. Again, I've listened to very, very, very little stuff about what he says, so I don't know. But yeah, I am. I'm tired of that Republican lie about the violence in video games and crap like that. To me, it's the same thing like with the satanic panic, like back in the day as well and stuff too. Because most of the time people who regurgitate that stuff don't know what they're talking about. Like even with like the scripture reference and stuff like that, they only take it at face value and probably are just repeating what they heard some other person say who won't even know what they're talking about too. I mean, that's going down a whole rabbit hole. What's up, Komanga? You got that right, Greg? The true manosphere is MGTOW. Elon Musk is in bed with the government. Have I voted yet? Yep, I've already voted. Yeah, down here in Texas, early voting started the 21st. So I already got that out of the way. Let's see. So at that time, he accused leftists of trying to scapegoat guns for school shootings when it should be video games that are targeted by federal regulations instead. Actually, it should be neither. And in 2014, Glenn Beck accused Watch Dogs of teaching kids how to hack due to the fact that you play a hacker in the game. Oh my gosh. All of this just makes me think about what's that quote from I Know What You Did Last Summer? Where it's like movies or whatever don't make you serial killers. It just like makes you more creative or something like that. This is kind of like what I think. What's that quote? I think that's what it's. I know what you did last summer. Was it that or was it Scream? Now it's going to bother me because I want to know that quote. Scream. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Why is this taking so long? All right, never mind. It's bothering me. Glenn Beck's criticism of violence in video games was echoed by former GOP House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick of Texas after a shooting in Dayton, Ohio left 29 dead, with McCarthy proposing a ban on the sale of violent video games to teenagers. I mean, that's where it comes down to the parents. Like, I'll agree nowadays a lot of parents are doing poor parenting because they just plop their kid in front of, a TV or something like that just to get them off their back. But you need to be aware of what like your kids are watching too. But that leaves down a whole nother rabbit hole, because it's like, what sort of subliminal, what, the woke ideology, what bullshit are they fisting inside of like those, those videos for babies and kids and stuff, He wrapped up his thoughts on gamers by declaring that women who date gamers are ignoring what nature intended the role of a man to be. Oh my gosh. But due to woke girls defying nature, it is up to right-wing dads to ensure that their daughters don't date men who game or who collect figurines. So then should men not collect art, I guess? Like not collect famous paintings, or collect coins, for example? How about that? I feel like Glenn Beck would be a person who loves to collect his old-timey, silver dollars and stuff like that. I mean, that's not manly, in my opinion. If we're just going to go like that, like, let's just go ahead and just determine, what's not manly. you know? Some figurines are like made very detailed, and that's what, you know, what people like about it too. Whatever. But again, this ties into the fact that like that sort of mentality always like doesn't help the Republicans win in the culture war when they say stupid shit like that. It's like the same thing when it's like, it's demonic. It's like, well, I mean, if you're talking about where the origin of it came, like the origin of whatever came from, then yeah, it probably stemmed. A lot of it does stem from the polytheism and Gnostic versions of their history. But I mean, you can be aware of the situation and whatnot. Is it like, you know, are you, you know, then that stems to you. If you're making something, you know, into a gateway or a portal and stuff like that, you know, if you're letting that happen, that's on you. Like, you need to, you know, be strong and stuff like that. Because the occult does do that. They do attach, you know, demons and demonic energy onto items and like pass it off at people. They also do it with people. They'll break their mentality. You know, they'll break their personality, you know, have a demon latch on it and then send people out and then unleash it and stuff like that. Like that sort of stuff the occult kind of does too. But again, it all stems to be aware of the problem, you know, be aware of what's happening per se, you know, be aware of that stuff. Like, but you know, if you're strong in the spirit, you have your holy armor up and stuff like that, and they don't have any power over you, you know. Again, it's that thing to where it's one thing to stay away from stuff that may cause you to sin, because obviously you need to, but like to just be the ostrich sticking their head into the ground, that doesn't help anybody either, and you're not supposed to. Like, you're supposed to be, we're at a war here. We're talking, you know, spiritual warfare and stuff like that. It's not a you know, it's not a spectator sport. You're a part of it, and you should be prepared, you know. Sometimes you actually have to go on the battlefield. This is what caught my eye. This is absolutely amazing, because while maybe people like Glenn Beck may not appreciate anime or video games, apparently the Vatican has an anime girl mascot. Oh my gosh. The Vatican unveils official anime girl mascot. So there it is right there. The Vatican has unveiled a new cute anime girl mascot, hoping to create characters that, quote, can represent the sentiments that resonate in the heart of the younger generation. The new character name, Luce, which means light in Italian, or Lucy? Oh, dear Lord, the Vatican. Okay, you want to get conspiracy light? That is very close to Lucifer, which means the light bearer. Oh my gosh. Anyway, because Lucifer is the Italian word, I believe, or stems from the Italian word that means light bearer. I always get it confused. I think it's in Ezekiel that you'll find Lucifer being named, which really is the actual name of Satan before his fall is Hellel ben Shakar. That's actually what the Hebrew word is, Hellel, which means light bearer. And Ben Shakar being son of dawn. So he's the light bearer, son of the dawn, or son of the morning, you know. Okay, so this anime mascot girl is going to, quote, guide young pilgrims towards hope and faith, according to the Catholic news agency. Lucy and her, I'm just going to say Lucy. Lucy and her friends were designed by Tokidoki co-founder Alvin 9 says Lightbringer in Latin. Yeah, Lightbringer, Lightbearer. Lucy is joined by her dog, Santino, alongside her friends Faye, Zin, and Sky. With the design reminiscent of Sanrio characters, Lucy and friends wear colorful raincoats and boots to travel on their holy pilgrimage. The Vatican is evil. Yeah, I got a problem with pretty much every established denomination, because a lot of stuff has infested in it. That is for sure. Lucy and her friends have unique markings in their eyes, which Jubilee chief organizer Archbishop Reno Ficilia describes as, quote, a symbol of hope of the heart. Maybe, let me see here. Can I zoom in on this? Let's see them eyes. There you go. Kind of a, I don't know if you can see it well. It's kind of like a, oh gosh. Well, that didn't help. Let's see. Maybe we can do this. Reset. Magnify. There we go. Ta-da! They're the cultists believe that Lightbringer is Lucifer, Satan. Wait, what? They're the cultists that believe that Lightbringer is Lucifer, Satan? Well, his name is Lightbearer. He is the Lightbearer. Like, I've heard of different, I'm studying, that's one of the many things I'm studying, and because I've heard people say, you know, Lucifer and Satan are different people. Satan's a title, but there's the ultimate. Just like the Antichrist. There are many Antichrists, but there is the capital A Antichrist. Same with Satan. There's also the Satan. I mean, I think the Freemasons are the ones that talk about the great architect and stuff like that, and they think that's God, but that's really Lucifer. Again, I'm reading up on stuff like that and studying that. Anyway, Luce will make her debut at the Lucca Comics and Games Convention in Italy, which will be the first time the Vatican will officially participate in a comics convention. Look at that. Lucy will also represent the Holy See at Expo 2025 in Osaka, Japan. The Catholic Church is planning multiple cultural events and projects in anticipation of the upcoming Catholic Jubilee. At present, it's unclear what's planned for Lucy and friends insofar as merchandising and possible multimedia projects. Well, there you go. Well, hot damn. I just find this picture is like amazing. Yeah, I am definitely curious what they're planning to do, of what hijinks they're going to get into. Hey, all right. Anyway. Oh, dude. Oh, good. Whew. I thought I exited out all of my Dragon Age articles that I picked up, but I just closed the group tab. All righty. Here we go, folks. Here is the main topic that we'll be talking about. And that is new Dragon Age, the Veilgaurd gameplay. Confirms game is ultra woke. I've seen it. They have, catering to that transgender nonsense. Dialogue in there. When I was kind of seeing like other people talk about it earlier today, I thought to myself, I said, you know what? Because this is BioWare and they also, they did Baldur's Gate 3. I'm wondering if Baldur's Gate 3 was just kind of to prepare you to think that because Baldur's Gate was so successful that like when Dragon Age the Veilguard came out, that people would just jump onto it, because in Baldur's Gate there was some stuff there, but ultimately you could ignore it and like bypass it and stuff like that. Dragon Age, they're just coming at you like they're just going ham with it. So I'm wondering if they got super, super ignorant and thinking, whoa, Baldur's Gate 3 did so successful, so now we can just go ham and have this like right up in your face. So with the review embargo released, hold on. Am I retarded? Probably. Baldur's Gate 3. Larian Studios. I said this is BioWare, and dude, I always get shit mixed up. But I could have sworn. I mean, the people from Baldur's Gate are tipping their hats at Dragon Age. That's to be surprised. I mean, that's no surprise. All right, my bad. I got my studios mixed up. Anyway. Let's get into this. With the review embargo released for Dragon Age the Veilgaurd and a number of physical copies already making their way into the hands of gamers, new gameplay confirms the rumors and developer statements that the game is, quote, ultra woke. So not just woke, ultra woke. Yeah, I've seen this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just look at that picture. That just says all you need to know. So earlier this month, a playtester broke his NDA. Props to you, and informed YouTuber Nura that the game was ultra woke and included the Quinari companion Tayash, informing the player character that she is non-binary. So is it actually a she, like woman, or like he that thinks he's a she but is not? See. Well, I guess we'll find. We'll just read. Just read the article. Maybe it'll tell us. He says, she told me that, quote, I am a non-binary person. How the hell that a fantasy game in Thedas had the word non-binary? She said that I don't like men and I don't like women. I identify myself as non-binary. Just like that. Nura shared a screenshot of dialogue from the game that does indeed prove that this dialogue exists. Tayash says at one point during the game, non-binary, I just said, and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on. Oh my gosh. Gay. I mean, we knew it was going to happen at some point. We knew it was going to happen. She also shared another screenshot from the game that reveals BioWare included gender identity options in its dialogue choice wheel. Newer commented, for anyone still on the fence about what I mean when I say the game is woke, and it will let you know at every single turn. Having diverse characters is not being woke. Having fantasy characters use modern day language is being woke. So we got the slap open this picture right here. So there it is. Oh, we can't really zoom in that much, but as you can see, it says right down here. There you go. Taking a wild guess that it's this person. This mentally ill, Taish? Or Quinari? Is that what that? I played Dragon Age 2. I don't know what that symbol is, but there you go. She shared another screenshot of the dialogue wheel that allows players to establish transgender identity and unlocks a new dialogue option in future conversation. Commented, BioWare, it's not even, BioWare is dead. Oh, I found a spelling error of that Park Place. BioWars is dead according to that Park Place, but it's BioWare is dead and the shills have killed it. And then we'll pop this sucker open too. Whoop boom. There you go. Take a long, hard look in it, kid. It'll always show that face of a hero who can get it done. Establishes transgender identity and unlocks new dialogue options in future conversation. I'm getting there. I love who I am. Feels good to see the real me back. I shan't say it. I shan't say it. I was going to say, where's the... Where's the Minecraft option? So that's usually what happens, sadly. Because instead of actually helping people with the illness, we just cater to it. Well, not I don't cater to it, but woke weirdos do. Another screenshot of the game shared by Noor also appears to show a conversation leading up to Taesh identifying as non-binary or discussion taking place soon after the reveal. Neva informs Taesh, some of my friends in Minrathos talk about not feeling comfortable in their own skin as a man, as a woman. Sounds like a personal problem. Noir commented, Nev and Tash talking about the latter's identity. I think to say this game is extremely woke is a pretty safe bet. Also, I told you so. There you go. As noted above, none of this is surprising in the least. Back in 2022, the game director, a man claiming the identity of a woman who with a name not given at birth, Corinne Bush, really? Declared in a developer, and it's always some weird ass name or like another name but spelled differently. Declared in a developer story on BioWare's website that Dragon Age has as a franchise is inherently very queer. They say this to every fucking thing, every time. It's inherently see, this is what they do. They bastardize everything. They rewrite history and then say, well, it was always like this. It's the same crap they pull with anime. Because one of the very sub-genre categories of anime is the LGBTQ. And of course, because of that, all the weeds infest it, and then they boot everything out and go, oh yeah, anime was always about that. It's like, no, it wasn't, you lying sack of shit. Bush said, as a queer trans woman, see, and then right there, always have to establish that because then, the sword and shield method. So then any sort of commentary that doesn't support their ideology, they can say, well, you're just attacking me and seeing me less as a human being. And then, of course, at the same time, using it as a sword to say, well, you can't have any opinion or say on it because as an oppressed group. I have a perspective on games that not everyone has. Bullshit. Dragon Age has long been a place where LGBTQAI folks can see people like themselves, represented respectfully. It's inherently very queer, and it's such a rare thing for marginalized communities to have representation where we feel proud and powerful in how we are depicted. He added, it's so deeply meaningful for so many. I often get emotional when I think about what it would have meant for a younger version of myself to see someone like her in a game. I feel like your younger self probably wouldn't respond to at all of what you're saying right now. Just a guess here. Just a guess. And as a hero, no less, I hope we can be a safe place for our queer players to know that they are not alone, that they are brilliant and worthy, that they are not only welcome, but celebrated. Furthermore, Bursch described himself in his profile on X as a queerosexual, gender mancer, and a supporter of Black Lives Matter. Oh my gosh. All red flags. There's a Grums thing right there. On top of this, BioWare revealed in a number of press interviews that all of the characters in the game are pansexual and will be engaging in disordered relationships no matter what the player does. Creative director John Epler told GameRap, there's a difference between player sexual and pansexual. All companies are canonically pansexual, or companions, excuse me. Bursch informed IGN that the companies were pansexuals as well. IGN's Alex Stedman reported, Bush insists that they're all specifically pansexual, and that might come through in what you learn about their backstories. Man, I hope this thing fails. Bursch then explained this. They are really making this like the bastardizing of a franchise. I think this might be currently the best example of what it means to bastardize a franchise. All this right here. Because it's one thing like Dustborn and Concord where it was specifically made to push this stuff. Dragon Age has been established for a while. And then, of course, you have the weeds crawling in and infesting into it. And then, see, this is why they have to bastardize it, too, is because they know that doing the stuff of an original game is not going to sell. Then explain their past experience of partners. They'll reference them and indeed who they'll become romantic with. He continued, for instance, we saw Harding. I might be playing a straight male character flirting with her, but I choose not to pursue a romance. She might get together with Tash. So my perception, my identity, has no bearing on their identities, and that comes through really strongly. He went on to detail, it's not until the later parts of the game where you really commit to romance, and it gets pretty spicy. So then the excuse to have the debauchery. It was then confirmed by a number of creators after BioWare gave them 7 hours to play the game that the character creator not only featured top surgery scars, but it gave players the option to choose various pronouns, including she, her, he, him, and they, them. It also allowed them to choose man, women, and non-binary. What about all the other ones? What about all the other ones? That's very bigoted of them, of just having she, her, he, him, they, them. Excuse me, what about z, them? Or whatever retarded other crap they make up. What do you make of these confirmations that the game is going ultra woke? Well, not surprising, and also sounds absolutely garbage. Like, I'm definitely curious to want to know what the story is, but not curious enough to play it because I'm sure as hell not spending money on this monstrosity of a game. That is for sure. So also coming from that park place, apparently, so you have all this stuff of people hyping up of like, oh, so woke, it's so inclusive, so it's going to cater to your queers out there and all this stuff. But apparently, it's actually being described as a piece of garbage and the tombstone of BioWare. Spanish-speaking streamer Natalie Serenova blasted Dragon Age the Veilgaurd after obtaining a review copy by allegedly informing the company she was, quote, non-binary woman. Nice. In an initial post to X, as translated via Google's auto-translate feature, Serenova wrote, guess who got a review code from Dragon Age the Veilgaurd? BioWare just sold his soul to the devil. I just had to say I was a non-binary woman and they gave it to me. Get ready for the mega review soon or tomorrow. See, and this is where all this retarded shit is hilarious. Because all you have to do is just say, oh yeah, I'm feeling this right now. And then, they can give you a review code. Because they're so terrified that if they were going to say no, then, you could raise up the backlash. So of note, Serenova's comment came in the wake of the YouTuber Wolfheart's FPS sharing that creators who were negative about the game during initial playtesting were not given review codes for the full game. He wrote on X, 3 creators, myself included, were a bit more critical than others with our hands-on time with Dragon Age the Veilgaurd. Not a single one of us will be getting a review code with time to actually give opinions before release. Just thought I would throw that out there. In a subsequent post, he added, please keep in mind, folks, that this does not mean that my moral critical opinion is better or more truthful than those who have been more positive. I'm just simply pointing out how marketing works. This also doesn't mean the game will be bad, but it's something to consider. Oh, it's going to be bad. He also pushed back in response to YouTuber Kala Elizabeth, noting that individuals who gave positive reviews did not get review copies as well. She wrote, there were also people who were very positive and were also at the event who didn't get review copies also. I definitely think you guys should have been given codes, but I just want to point out it wasn't only people being more critical who weren't given codes. So it sounds like that they probably just gave codes to people that are biased towards the game. So Wolfheart FPS responded, I understand that, and I did my research on this before posting. The point is more so that everyone I know of who was critical did not get a code, with 2 of us being heavily involved in the party-based RPG scene. It's just not a good look. It is, however, a good look on the investor side of the equation, though. So, Serenova then shared her review of the game at 3.5 hours of play. She wrote, terrible graphics, boring and monotonous combat. They want to copy God of War, but in a bad way. Well, which one? The Ragnarok one, which I hear is terrible, or possibly the first one, which was good, or the OG ones, which is amazing. She continued, the game does not run at a constant 30 FPS. It drops and the screen freezes when there are many NPCs, probably because they knew Even the game sounds like even the game realizes that it's a monstrosity, and they're like, "Don't play it," and it's like freezing and shutting down. Many of the dialogues are noticeably made with AI. Oh, what's wrong? I thought you guys were all about like queers and LGBTQ. You guys can't make good dialogue. Very linear. The options leads to nowhere. False free will. The creator of characters focused on the trans and LGBTQ communities. She added inclusive language in Spanish subtitles. Next, she wrote, the character move very robotic. They lack animation. The script doesn't make sense. Neither do the quests. From one place to another, killing bugs. Too much focus on homosexuality, lesbians, drags, race swap everywhere. Oh no. Oh my gosh. This sounds awful. She then summarized, it's a fucking piece of garbage as an RPG. Stay away from this game. Don't even buy it on sale. It's a pile of petrification created by people who have no fucking idea about video games. Uninstall already. Fuck your mother. I'd have to give that rating a 10 out of 10. And then in a subsequent post, she wrote, this game will be the tombstone of BioWare. Probably very true. And then, but she's not done yet. Finally, she concluded, if they don't fix all the bugs before launch, coupled with the political agenda, this game will be shit. And then what do you make of Serenova obtaining a review code by saying she's non-binary, and then her view on the game after over 3 years of play? Or over 3 years. Whoops. 3 hours of play. Dude, 3 years? That would be like the next like torture device some like craze group could do to people. Dude, forget the bamboo shoot torture device, where they put you over a bamboo and it slowly grows through you. Forget that. Forget waterboarding. Just tie you to a chair, put that controller down, turn on that TV screen, Dragon Age the Veilgaurd. No! No! I'll talk. So he hinted at, again, another that Park Place comment. We saw a little bit of it, but, BioWare was very stingy about who they gave their review codes. Apparently, to people who are critical. YouTuber Wolfhard FPS reported that at least 3 streamers and YouTubers that were critical of Dragon Age the Veilgaurd during an initial playtest have not been given review codes for the full game. And then we've read that before. And then also read that as well. Kayla Elizabeth pointed out. I don't know. I mean, let's see. Oh, this was back in October 26th. Okay, so a little far behind because I was going to say I don't know how far apart these two articles are. Oh, but here's some more updated stuff. In his video titled Mixed Impressions After Playing Dragon Age the Veilgaurd Early, he concluded at the end, overall, initial impressions-wise, this game is pulling me in so many different... Ted Cruz Zodiac Killer, more like BioQuare. Very true. Bio Derriere. Concluded at the end, overall, initial impressions-wise, this game is pulling me in so many different directions, and it leaves me very conflicted. I don't know. From what I've read, it'd leave me very disgusted. But as a fan of the franchise as a whole, and as someone who's already gone through the mourning period of the DA franchise, would head more towards the CRPG direction, or more towards the D-complex RPG direction, I guess. I could say I did find myself still excited to jump back into it on release. So you only felt joy and happiness when it's like, oh my gosh, we're playing a new Dragon Age game, and then immediately just went down the shitter when it was like, holy crap, this game is a piece of hot fucking garbage. I made a tweet about this too. Like they are, like I think Dragon Age here is going to be the new golden calf that the woke hive mind looks to set up. Because for a while, back then it was The Last of Us Part 2, but we saw how much that died out, and then how no one gave a shit when Last of Us Part 2 online came about and the remaster and all that shit. So you had that. Then they tried just going it right at your face with Concord, Dustborn, and all that crap, and that failed miserably, so they passed that along. They kind of got a good response with Baldur's Gate 3. And there's kind of like the same with Silent Hill 2. But those two games are games where they slightly inserted a bunch of garbage into it. And, you know, and so like if you're aware of it, you can see it. If not, then it can kind of be okay. But I mean, that's just banking on well-established franchises too. That's what I've always heard people try to point over. Like, oh, Baldur's Gate 3 had all that shit. It was woke. It's like, no, I mean, it had a shit ton of debauchery, which you woke assholes like absolutely love because that's your guys' things. In Baldur's Gate 3, you can at least ignore it. Or even go out of your way to eliminate it. That's what I did. I was a paladin. I murked the crap out of everybody that I considered a heathen. This, though, I mean, not only are they putting it right in your face, but it's an established franchise, too. So I do think for sure they are going to really try to push this into thinking like, see, woke can sell. It can sell. I tell you, sell. All right, so sorry, got distracted. So with that said, I just can't confidently say to you, although as my audience, that, yeah, this is a definite buy. My guess is that this game will unfortunately continue to be quite divisive, but I could be wrong, he added. Oh, it is divisive because they don't care about the franchise. They lied about it to say it was always queer. I mean, but they always do that every fucking time. The headcanon, they'll project the headcanon onto the series, say it was always like this, and that justifies them to bastardize it. They do it every time. He also shared, for myself, the potential story and world building is a powerful enough force to the DA franchise that I'll be playing it no matter what, and there are certainly some cool things that I talked about in the video, but I don't really see any world where this could be like my game of the year or anything like that. A few of the negatives that I mentioned in the video, they just feel a little too impactful for what I personally value in games, specifically RPGs. And then what do you make of his claim of refusing to provide creators copies that were critical of the game after the initial playthrough? Of course they're going to do that. Of course they know. I'm wondering, though, if this is going to get as much backlash as kind of like your Assassin's Creed Shadows and stuff like that. But, I mean, I guess this game is... I don't know. I was going to say already, like, is it ready to go? I mean, they're sending out codes, so I would assume. When does this get revealed? This goes to show how much this was in my radar of being interested at all in it. And the answer was 0. Let's see. Veilgaurd. Release. Release date. I still need to play Dragon Age. I think I need to play Dragon Age 3 and Inquisition. October. Oh, it's literally the 31st. So literally, oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, they're going to desperately try to do this. They are desperately trying to hype this up for sure. Now, this comes from Tech4 Gamers. So, not only are they not sending codes to people who are critical of the game, apparently they're sending DMCAs to people criticizing Dragon Age the Veilgaurd. Another reason why DMCA is bullshit, and another reason why these people are fucking scum. So Dragon Age the Veilgaurd is just 3 days away from its release. While the game is currently the most pre-ordered on the PS Store in the UK and the US, a recent report suggests that the developers are avoiding giving critical creators the review codes of the game. And this is another thing I hate about looking at the pre-orders and stuff like that, because that's all they're going to look at, you know? Because that was the same thing with The Last of Us Part 2. and then that had a bunch of returns, and the same thing with the Suicide Squad, the Justice League, that had a bunch of returns. So like it means nothing. It means nothing, but that's going to be, to them, that's the only numbers they need, you know. But it has now been reported that BioWare is sending DMCAs to people who post pictures and videos criticizing Dragon Age the Veilguard. Uh-oh, so does that mean this video might get slapped? I don't know, but all I can say is, BioWare, I mean, if you do anything, you know, Venom Greg has something to say to you guys. Thank you, Venom Greg. A man of very few words, but words that pack a powerful punch that, you know, resonates deep within the soul. It has now been reported that BioWare is sending DMCAs to people who post pictures and videos criticizing Dragon Age the Veilguard. Why does it matter? This is not a great sign for the title's release, as BioWare doesn't seem confident about the launch of Dragon Age the Veilguard. Oh, of course, they're definitely not confident, and two, they know what they did. These people know what they did, and they don't care. Just recently, one of the leading Twitter accounts that posts about game-related stuff stated that BioWare is currently sending DMCAs to people posting videos and pictures criticizing Dragon Age the Veilguard. He deleted all his previous posts about the title and warned other creators not to post anything criticizing it. Fans have also criticized this idea in the comments, stating that BioWare is just afraid of letting fans know about their super woke title before its launch and doing everything in their hand to control the reviews. We believe that BioWare doesn't have to do anything like that, as the developers have released some of the best games in the past and should be confident in what they have developed in the last few years. Nonetheless, Dragon Age the Veilguard will be released 31st of October. Here I was looking up of when the release date was and could have just read this article, but it's coming for PS5, Xbox Series XS, and PC. My recommendation is don't let it touch any of your consoles or computerware, because for all we know, it'll turn it gay. Turning the frogs gay. What do you think of this? Do you think BioWare is right to send DMCAs? No. And if they're doing it because they're super butthurt of the fact that everyone never asked for anything like this, especially in a Dragon Age game, then, you know, they're all into debauchery, then they can go ahead and just fist their own asshole about it. Because, no, yeah. And this extends beyond just like sending out DMCAs and stuff like that. It's the entire concept of remaking games for the modern audiences. All of a sudden, now they're embarrassed of games that they made in the past, and they feel the need to rectify it by now remaking it for the modern audience. So it's either actual people, CEOs and stuff, feeling ashamed about what they made in the past, or it's the weeds making a bunch of noises and demanding that stuff be fixed and stuff. And so they're infiltrating, the gaming sphere and all that stuff, and bastardizing everything they touch. So at the end of the day, they can say, "Look what he did. We made something." I don't know. At this point, I don't even know what they would say to themselves. It's one big giant circle jerk. They don't care about it. Either at people who legitimately don't care and are purposely destroying it, or they're doing it for clout. It's like one or the other, Komanga says Venom 3. I heard Venom 3 did not do so well. Some people were saying it's better than Venom 2. I liked Venom 1. I kind of want to see Let There Be Carnage, but I heard it wasn't good, and then I don't know. But that is all I have for today, folks. Let's not end on a bunch of gayness. Let's end on something like worthwhile, Let's take a look at games that were made with love and care, that were made today. Well, not just today, but on this day through the past, Let's wash our palate here. Let's cleanse the palate. We'll pull up here Game Facts and Moby Games. Because remember, folks, you do not go out and get Dragon Age, the Veilgaurd. You don't have to. There are plenty of games that are 10 times better than this. For example, you've got, well, it's the Game Boy Advance version, but apparently Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. You have Samurai Showdown 2. You got Shin Megami Tensei. Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Gladius. Dude, Command and Conquer, Red Alert 3. There you go. Isn't Gina Carano in that game? You got your Fallout 3. Ooh, Golden Sun, Dark Dawn. Did I play Dark Dawn? I know I played one of the Golden Suns, and it's good. It's definitely a series I want to come back to. And got Lords of the Fallen. I actually have WWE 2K15. Oh, dude, Titanfall 2. Excellent game. Oh, man, I wish Titanfall 2 was Titanfall 1. I wish Titanfall was still around. They sacrificed it for Apex, alas. Xenocrisis, Bayonetta 3. You got your, if you like your Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. See, you have some good games there. Moby Games has even a longer list. Let's see what I got. Look, Sonic and Knuckles in Japan came out today. Excellent game. And there's patches out there that fix stuff. That if you want some goodness to it. I believe when I played Sonic and Knuckles, I did like a really good combining of everything together. Really fun game. Oh gosh, Earthworm Jim 3D. Sorry, Doug. I just pointed it out because it did not a good game, but it did come out today. Ooh, Topspin. Topspin is actually a good tennis game series. I like my tennis games. Ooh, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 Combo Park Pack. Windows version in Germany. There you go. I keep seeing the Suffering, the Ties That Bind, and like different coming out in the world like at different times. This is the Italy copy. Hey, Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock Guitar Bundle PS2 version came out. There you go. Manga says, Doug, we love you. We do. Virtua Tennis is greater than Topspin. This is true. Some people say Virtua Tennis, 2? I actually was looking this up not too long ago. I forget which one it is. I do know a lot of people say for the Topspin game, Topspin 4 for PlayStation 3 is regarded as like one of the best ones. I think. Yeah, Topspin 4. A lot of people say like that's like peak, like the best Topspin game out there. Very good. Command and Conquer, Red Alert 3, like I said. I need to play that for Gina. Tipping the hat, because I believe she's in that game. Apparently Borderlands was released for the PlayStation 3 in Russia. For the Union, Mother Russia. Scorched earth. Spread the doom. I always liked the voice lines for Red Alert 2. And Red Alert 2, Yuri's Revenge. Also an expansion pack. Good one. Red Alert was a great. I only played 2, but I should play the other ones. Let's see. Titanfall 2, like I said. You have your Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition for PlayStation 4, US. See, guys, you don't have to play Dragon Age Veilgaurd. You don't have to play these bastardized modern games. We have a list of tons of great games from the past. And it always makes me sad when I'm on Moby games because the more I scroll down to like recent years, it's like the more I'm not seeing anything standing out. Oh, Fatal Frame, Made in a Black Water. I actually, speaking of which, let me know in the comments, guys, a Halloween-based game you would suggest that I should play. I'll have to take a look at what's up. One that I can probably do in like a day or something, so maybe at like an old classic or something. I've beaten Castlevania. I do have a patched version that makes Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, way better. Or I could try 3. I think last year I played Splatterhouse. I could try Splatterhouse 2. But there you go, guys. Ending on a positive note. So I appreciate you guys all hanging out. We had quite some good views. 20 viewers on YouTube. We've got some people over on Rumble and YouTube and X. I think I said YouTube. On X is what I mean. But, well, hopefully I got my thoughts across in a understandable, coherent way. Who knows? But how about Castlevania Doom mod? I'd have to look that up. I don't know. I feel like there's just a bunch of stuff. I kind of want to play the Silent Hill 2 remake with like the mods and stuff, but I'm not getting that until it's like lower in price if I was going to play it. But yes, that is all I have for you guys tonight. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button if you're new and you enjoyed the show. And make sure to turn the bell on to get notified when I go live next time. Should be on tomorrow. I'm going to try to finish up Blue Dragon tomorrow because we're really close at the end there. Unfortunately, I have to grind to make it so we don't get completely owned. But fun. But yeah, let's see. Who can we redirect over on YouTube? See if anybody that I enjoy watching is online. My boy Legal Mindset is on. We will send you guys over there. And then is over on YouTube. And yeah. All right. Let's go raid Legal Mindset. All right. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks again. Super humble and blessed you guys take the time to listen to me. I'm just a weirdo, I guess you could say, that just spews a bunch of insane ramblings. Just like what I'm doing now. Now I'm just filling up time. So, never mind. You guys have a good night. Take care. God bless. Again, humbled and blessed you guys took the time to hang out with me. But yeah, catch you guys tomorrow. Catch you on the flip side. And until then, peace.